Welcome to this week's edition of Redeemed and Restored, entitled Resurrection of a Dream. I wanted to come to you today with a monologue just to take a moment and share my thoughts and my insights into this exciting time of the year. As you can see in the background, I am coming to you from our new bookstore. It is so cool. More about that in a minute. But Resurrection Day weekend always makes me think of how our Romans 8:28 God births dreams in our hearts. Then we often watch those dreams die, and then he resurrects it. Have you ever had that happen? I have. It was actually 23 years ago, to be exact. We had just moved Wine Press Publishing into a really cool building in the heart of downtown Enumclaw in the historic district. And we had this big roll-up garage door. It was super funky and old. So the landlord, who also happened to be the city attorney, actually replaced it with a beautiful new stainless steel door with huge windows. I loved being able to roll it up on spring or summer day and it felt like we were working outside. It was the coolest thing. And with the offices in the back rear of the building, one day I was out there in that open area in front of the big roll-up door, and I just started having a conversation with God and said, Lord, could we maybe have a bookstore here where we could have worship music playing and cozy places for people to buy a book and sit for a while and read about you and really just enjoy the atmosphere? I mean, we could even pray with people who stop by and need to be encouraged, and maybe just be there for those who are weary. Reflecting back, this was the spring of 1999, just 6 months before we got completely detoured by the false preacher, teacher, and his wife. And now, 2022, here I am in the middle of full-blown restoration with Redemption Press, and she writes for him in our 8th year of business, flourishing even through the pandemic. And a new chapter of my story unfolds. Early in my time living in Enumclaw, I was super active in the Enumclaw Downtown Partnership, where we were a part of the Main Street program. And that is a program that focuses on refurbishing and restoring historic downtowns, creating a destination by having events and all sorts of cool stuff so that others could come and enjoy our small town at the base of Mount Rainier. During that time, I worked with Peggy Wenham on a number of committees and then followed her in the presidency of the Downtown Partnership. And a few years ago, she was ready to retire. And she was ready to close her store after 25 years. Almost Necessities was just an icon in this town. And I asked what would she be doing with the building. She said, oh, we already have renters waiting for me to get everything out of here so they can move in. And that actually wasn't too many months before the pandemic hit. So that, of course, slowed everything down for her in vacating the building. And we had moved into a downtown location just right on the other side of the street, but it was a side street in December of 2019. Yes, you heard that right. Just a few months before the pandemic hit. So we had spent all this time and effort creating this wonderful atmosphere for our first true bookstore, but the coronavirus detoured all of our best laid plans. I honestly was considering all of my options when my 2 years were up on the lease in December of 2021. You know, over the time of the pandemic, we'd gone pretty much 100% virtual and had almost all our entire staff working from home without it creating any issues. So I'm like, should I just downsize to a small office and, get rid of the bookstore and keep our fully virtual model in place? Or should I get a better location and really give the bookstore a proper opportunity to flourish? All these questions swirled in my brain. I kept praying and trying to talk myself into the wisdom of not wasting money on a big office if we didn't need it. But I just could not get peace from the Lord on eliminating the bookstore entirely and downsizing to a minimal amount of space. So my landlord was super flexible, and I was able to actually have the freedom to go month to month while I was trying to make a decision on what I would do. And if I didn't have an answer by December 1st, it was no problem. So on October 27th, 2021, an email pops into my inbox. Hey, Athena, are you still interested in moving to a space on Cole Street? The women that wanted my shop have backed out and it is available again. I do have someone else interested, but I thought I would ask you first, since I told you I'd let you know if it became available again. Peggy. I mean to tell you, the heavens opened up. The angels started to sing, "Great is thy faithfulness." And I mean, really, this was a dream come true. This space is in a 100-year-old bank building on the busiest corner in historic downtown Enumclaw. With the high ceilings and tons of windows, the potential for incredible ambiance and atmosphere was a reality. And I knew God was opening this door of ministry. And so holy audacity just welled up within me as I said, yes. The birth of the vision in early 1999, the death of the vision in late 1999, and now the resurrection of that very vision in 2022. The way it has come together absolutely blows me away. We were originally supposed to be able to move in by February 1st, but things got delayed to the point where we moved out of our old space and had to actually put everything in storage until we could get moved into the new space. And it was going to be about 30 days before we could. So we were like homeless as a business for 30 days. But we were going to be able to move in at the beginning of March. That gave us 30 days to unload all the boxes, put all the furniture back together, paint, wallpaper, decorate, and be ready for the virtual conference March 31st, April 1st, and 2nd, when we had hoped to be able to celebrate the opening of the new store. So let me just say, the virtual celebration on April 1st could not have been more poignant, as once again, God showed the great power of his redemption and restoration 12 years to the day from my signing over Winepress Publishing to the enemy. He provided another extreme example of his faithfulness and restoration to me. So this last weekend of Resurrection Day and Easter Sunday was an incredible reminder to me of his ways that allow our dreams and visions sometime to die so that he can resurrect them in his way and his timing. And he gets all the glory when it happens. I hope that encourages you. If you've had some visions die, I can tell you from experience, when it's his dream for you, he will resurrect it, he will redeem and restore it, and he will get the glory. Hey, so thanks for joining us today on the Redeemed and Restored video broadcast, brought to you by me, Athena Dean Holtz, who happens to be a horse lover. and the Romans 8:28 bookstore, which is a division of Redemption Press, which is right down the street that way, around the corner, right here in downtown Enumclaw, where everything is happening. So I would love to have you review and share this broadcast with friends, family, and others who could use the encouragement. And if you know someone who might prefer the audio podcast version of today's episode, you can go over to redeemedandrestoredpodcast.com and share a link from there. So thank you so much for joining me today. See you next week right here on YouTube for another episode of Redeemed and Restored.